Big news because the Ubisoft CEO confirmed to GameSpot at Gamescom that we will not get a new Assassin's Creed game in 2019. They will instead focus on Assassin's Creed Odyssey that is of course out on October 5th. So this tells us a lot of interesting things, like the studios that are making the game, what will happen in 2019 and beyond. So I want to discuss that in this video. If you enjoyed that, then a like would be super appreciated, and let's go. Yves Guillemot already confirmed that Assassin's Creed will not be an annualized franchise anymore following the release of Origins and now Odyssey this year. And now we have the first news that really shows you that, namely the fact that there will not be a full-fledged Assassin's Creed game in 2019. Right now we got Origins and Odyssey back to back because both Origins and Odyssey were in development at the same time, according to the Ubisoft CEO in the GameSpot article. And sure, you could say that in the end it was Ubisoft who made the decision that both games were in development at the same time, but on the other hand, I think that after Ubisoft Quebec made Syndicate their first big project they took the lead on, it was a logic step for them to work on another Assassin's Creed game. And now that we do not get a completely new game in 2019, I think it's safe to say that there are now two big lead studios on the franchise. Because if there was still this Unity team, for example, at Ubisoft Montreal, they would have been working on a new AC since the end of 2014, looking at this slide they released a few months back at the GDC. So I don't see them having another studio making the next AC other than the team from Ashraf Ismail that made Origins, because if they will skip 2019, then I think the next game will be in 2020, and that would be 3 years for the Ashraf Ismail team, and I think that would be enough to make a new AC game. And of course there are a lot of smaller Ubisoft studios all over the world helping with the development as well. For Odyssey there are 8 studios helping Quebec, and with Origins we also saw other studios taking responsibilities for different areas or activities in the open world, like Sovia, for example, made Serene, and also the Curse of the Varos expansion. So yes, if Ubisoft wanted to make a new Assassin's Creed game for 2019, I'm sure they could find the manpower to do it, yet they decide to focus on Odyssey instead, because that is the other news from this article. The Ubisoft CEO says that instead of this new game next year, we will get lots of content coming to Odyssey. He continues that the team really wants to give on a regular basis some new possibilities for play. And then his final quote, so when you get Odyssey this year, you are going to get in for a couple of years actually, end quote. I mean, I really think this is good news for sure. We don't need a new Assassin's Creed game every year. That is also what made Origins so special, like there was a longer wait between that and the previous release. So they really had time to fine-tune a ton of things. And we are not like left in the cold. We get more content to the previous game, and that is brilliant. I mean, to be honest, if they released a big Origins expansion this fall instead of Odyssey, I would be happy with that as well. If it is like a substantial amount of content and where they also change like the gameplay up in interesting ways, I will totally be for that. What is interesting though is this season pass for Odyssey right now that gives you access to, quote, all story content, end quote, according to the promotional picture. And with Origins this was not really a problem because they already knew from the start that after March 2018 things would die down, so the spotlight could be on Odyssey. But now this is not the case. I don't think that they mean you can get all the story content for multiple years if they indeed plan to support the game for that long. So not sure how they will communicate that, but I think there is some sort of Destiny type of situation going on where you get like 2 sizable expansions in the first year as part of the season pass, and then after that year, after the season pass DLC packs have released, there will be a big expansion to the game that builds upon the gameplay of Odyssey, but is way bigger than the previous DLC packs, and maybe also gives an option for new people who skipped Odyssey in 2018 to jump back in. Maybe there will be a character level boost that you can immediately play the new content, but you also get all the previous Odyssey content. Of course, pure speculation here on my part, but I think that since Ubisoft released a new Assassin's Creed product on store shelves every year since 2009, 2019 will not be different. So now we know that it will not be a full-fledged game, but a big Odyssey expansion bundled with the previous like content from the game we get on October 5th makes a ton of sense. And it would also explain the season pass that now says all story content, because this expansion is likely like extremely big, so it makes sense that it's not part of the season pass. Remember the rumor way back in early 2016 on 4chan about Origins that the game was set in Egypt, and that after that game we could head to Agent Greece and likely Agent Rome as well. Well, Agent Greece turned out to be true, just like a lot of other things from that leak regarding Origins. So I'm curious if we still get to go to Rome, and if so, when? There was even a rumor earlier this year where a freelance journalist, Jordan Oloman, saw two possible Ubisoft employees who carried UB30 and UB Proud bags, and those are only for employees, and they took very specific photos of the environment. This was, by the way, reported by the ones who came before. And it's really comparable to how the Odyssey team did it as well, and probably a lot of Assassin's Creed teams before it. They visited Greece, took a ton of pictures, and made the game based on that info. So why would Ubisoft employees go to Rome and take a lot of specific photos? So I totally believe that Agent Rome could be a place we visit in the future. So yes, we first of course thought it would be a new game, but now that they really want to focus on Odyssey with new content, maybe we will visit Agent Rome as a big expansion. Just throwing it out there. We of course also had a few months back an article that says that the future of Assassin's Creed would be multiple timelines or multiple settings in one game. Maybe we will see that sooner than expected. The absence of a new Assassin's Creed game in 2019 will likely mean that we get a new one in 2020, and that would give Ashraf and the Origins team 3 years to develop this new game. I think that would be enough. I think that if one team can make the Feudal Japan game, it is his team, so I really hope that that will be the case. Although I can see them wait with this setting for like a fully next-gen Assassin's Creed game that will only be playable on the next Xbox and the PlayStation 5. Because that is the case. If there is a new Assassin's Creed game in the fall of 2020, it will very likely be a cross-gen game, because the PlayStation 5 and the next Xbox are set to launch in the fall of 2020 according to many people. And of course we saw a cross-gen Assassin's Creed game before, Black Flag, also the first game with Ashraf Ismail in the lead, so I can totally see him like do something like that again. It really made Black Flag, I feel, even more popular than it already was. So yes, exciting stuff. I mean, it was already teased that Odyssey's post-launch would be bigger than Origins, and now it will be way longer as well. So kind of cool that you now know that the character you will start on October 5th will be one you will be upgrading for a very long time. And of course, another big takeaway from this news is that the new Watch Dogs is now kind of confirmed for fall 2019 to fill the gap that Assassin's Creed will leave. Curious what other games they will likely bring, because I think a new Far Cry game is too soon. So maybe this Odyssey big expansion, Watch Dogs 3, maybe a new IP, something like that. While editing the video, I thought of course of Splinter Cell, maybe a new Ghost Recon, so they still got like a ton of franchises they can put there, so they don't really need Assassin's Creed. But still, like Watch Dogs, I mean, Watch Dogs 2 came out in 2016, so 3 years after Watch Dogs 2 makes a ton of sense. 2019 is like a lock-in at this point. It's gonna be an exciting time, but let's go back to 2018. Let's go back to right now, because Odyssey is really close. And I still got a ton of awesome Gamescom footage that I want to share with you, so keep a close eye out on the channel. Subscribe for everything Odyssey if you haven't already when we near the release. And of course, the multiple years beyond that as well. It's gonna be an awesome ride. Like this video to support the channel. Check out my video with the awesome Medusa fight from Gamescom if you haven't already. And I will speak to you next time. Goodbye.